Welcome to New Realities. My name is Alan Steinfeld, and if you've been following this program, you know it's about transformation and how many people all over the world are waking up to a higher potential of who they are and what they want to give to the world. So tonight's guest is someone who's had a transformation in his life, and I'm fascinated by those stories. He's Dr. John Querci, and he's going to be doing a seminar in New York coming up November 1st.
Yes.
And it's going from fear to love.
Correct.
And where's it going to be?
At the Tao Yoga Studio on Union Square.
Tao Yoga Studio. What's the address on Union Square?
I don't know the actual street address.
Well, they could look up Tao Yoga Studio,
and Tai
Union
Chi.
Square, November 1st. It's a free lecture seminar, and you'll be sharing what you've...
Well, I'll be sharing my own personal experiences that I've gone through in the last, I would have to say 6 years, but especially in the last 2 years, and how to take the journey from fear to love.
Well, let's talk about that. So let's talk about your personal journey, because you are you're a doctor, a medical doctor.
Correct.
You told me about your emergency. You told me about how you were in the emergency rooms and doing the hardcore doctor stuff, and then things weren't working for you because the sensitive part that you had inside was being covered over. So
Correct.
tell me about, how did you return to that part inside you?
Well, I got to the point where I felt numb. I felt really locked out of what I really was here to do. It became very mechanistic, very scientific, and there was just a lack of connectivity with the people around me. I was very good at what I did. I still do practice emergency room medicine, but I started exploring the sensitive, the spiritual world. I started to notice that I was attracting what I had been, this very regimented scientific physician.
You were attracting what? Oh, you were attracting the regimented mindset.
Mindset. And it just wasn't fun. It wasn't where I wanted to be. It wasn't evolving. And through a series of synchronicities,
Right.
one was I hired a physician. I was the medical director of emergency room. And I hired a physician who turned out to be a Brahmin, an Indian Brahmin. And we carried on a series of discussions actually for about 1.5 years. And he led me into a whole new world, a world that I never, ever, ever experienced was there. And he did it in such a kind, gentle way. In fact, I didn't even realize I was being led. And very rapidly, I just ate this up. It was what I wanted. It was what I felt.
What happened to you? What?
I just felt good. I felt wonderful about exploring. I guess the journey is called, instead of the journey everyone talks about going on as outer space, inner space. Inner space is the most fascinating journey anyone could ever have. And I started to find out what that little child inside of me really wanted in life. I started to get a feel for what I was missing.
The sensitive part of
The
yourself.
sensitive part
You
of it.
returned to that.
Yes. And the hardest thing to do was the idea of trust.
Was that what? So something threatened your trust as a child,
Sure.
and you had to cover it up and feel
Right.
in control.
Right. And when you go through medical school training,
Yeah.
it's like going to boot camp. They really take everything out of you to teach you sensitivity.
Right.
And everything's about crunching the numbers, getting the work done, learning the material, and executing it.
So, okay, and then you covered up this sensitive feeling side that was probably led you to be a doctor in the first place.
Absolutely.
Right.
I wanted to be a healer.
Right.
I didn't know what that meant. And then I got into the system of scientific medicine in America. And sensitivity is not part of it.
That is so. How can we change that? How do we change that paradigm? Because that is what medicine needs.
By taking a series of little baby steps.
Well, tell me.
And
How?
the series of little baby steps is to show people, to first, people have to make a decision. The hardest thing to do is make that first choice. Do you want to embrace a life of fear that limits you, or a life of love? Now that's a hard decision. And the reason is we all like our comfort zone.
The comfort zone is built around keeping us safe.
Right. And it all starts off because we're domesticated. We're domesticated by the people who love us the most when we come into this world. Our mothers, our fathers, our sisters,
Right.
our rabbis.
We're taught to live in a comfort zone. So
Yeah.
how do we get over the comfort zone and still feel secure enough?
First, making the choice that you want to and understanding what the comfort zone means. The comfort zone is a zone created by ourselves. And not only is it created by ourselves, but we put a big wall around it, an impregnable wall that we feel we can't even break down. But we have to realize the two biggest walls ever built that were impregnable in the last 50 years was the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain, both of which fell very easily when people stood up and said no.
But the inner wall is probably a lot stronger than those outer walls.
I don't think it's any different. It might be even weaker. The thing of it is, we have to make the decision to say, in our little comfort zone, we do have emotional pain, but we know how bad it can get, that it's not going to get any worse, and we're used to it. So we say, that's okay, I can deal with that. And we surround ourselves with a peer group, just like a president selects his cabinet, a bunch of people who agree with our agenda, or we don't pick you.
They support the neurosis or the container.
Absolutely.
So it takes a lot for someone to say, you know what, I'm going to go beyond this comfort because I don't know what's going to happen. It could be threatening, but of course the unknown is always more exciting when you shift that mindset, but people don't know that.
Right.
So how do you get them to inch out of the comfort?
Well, you teach them what it all means. First of all, the thing of it is, check the wall out. And if you lean up against that wall very gently, and ever so gently and kindly and lovingly, don't push hard. And keep doing it. And you may feel it move a little bit, and you'll be shocked, and you may run back because you're not sure you want to let it fall.
But how do you push up against the wall? What practical suggestions?
You push up against your areas of resistance. The first one is you have to get to learn to know yourself. You have to take that inward journey. The most important relationship that anyone has in this world is the relationship we have with ourselves. Our first love affair, the most important love affair, is the one with ourselves. And we can't have that if we doubt ourselves. So we have to learn to trust ourselves.
So how did you do it when you were breaking out of the mold of that hardcore doctor? What was that wall?
It was impregnable.
Yes.
Because everyone around me said, you can't do this.
And so what did you do?
I said, but I can. I made a choice.
And then what was that little baby step?
Well, the baby step was I had to learn to trust myself. But we'll go one step further. Trust is nothing more than follow your own intuition. And intuition, you have to understand what the definition is. Intuition is knowing without being able to realize or rationalize or to calculate, but knowing it's right. Having a gut feeling, but a gut feeling that's intuitive has no emotion cut around it. So it's an emotionless gut feeling that you come to a conclusion that doesn't make logical sense.
It has no fear, no anxiety. It's just like, okay, this is it. But then their mind comes in and says, don't do that, don't follow
Don't
it.
trust. You can't do this.
Right. So how do you believe in the intuition strong enough to overcome the mind that wants to stop?
Very easily. You have to realize that first, you have to trust in yourself. So you got to look in that mirror, look dead square in that mirror when you wake up every morning. And I don't care how beautiful you are, how much money you have, or where you live, and say, I'm beautiful. I love myself. I love myself for my wholeness. And what does it mean to be whole? Whole means that you accept the dark side and the light side. And you embrace everything. You have light on your whole character. So you say, you know, I have this real issue with trust. That's okay. Embrace it. I have this real issue with fear of airplanes. Embrace it. Once you embrace it and hold it close, you can let it go with love. And that's pushing up against the wall. So baby steps is taking one little step, one little phobia, one little fear, and changing it. So you say, you know, I know New Yorkers don't look each other in the eye when they walk down the street. That's how you could tell a New Yorker. But I'm going to start looking at people in the eye.
Right.
That is powerful. That is really courageous. Or one very famous celebrity that I know in this city, who I respect immensely, but she says, I can't go out to eat by myself.
Why is that? Because
she's just afraid to be alone and eating out by herself, or someone would see her alone.
Right.
And she goes, but I did it the other night. I said, great. Keep on doing it every single night till you get it right and feel totally comfortable. Now you broke down your wall and you got it.
So we all have these walls, but what you just said about trusting the intuition and loving ourselves enough to follow that deeper guidance as opposed to the other things that want to keep us safe.
The ruminating mind and the peer group, which is going to ostracize us if we look different or act different. But the thing of it is, the more love you have for yourself, the more trust you have for yourself, the less fear you have, and the greater your intuition. And then as you practice it, love, intuition, it gets stronger. And it's that overflowing love then that you have to share with the rest of the world. Not give away, but share. Because if you give away, you lose it.
The love that you want to share.
Right.
So you had an intuition that said, this form of medicine isn't working for me.
No.
And I need to do something different.
Right.
And then you just followed your
I followed my gut. Basically, at the time, I had 26 employees, and my 26 employees, I had a walk-in center, said, we'll never talk to you again if you do this.
You said, I'm dissolving the business.
Yes,
It's over.
it's over.
It's not working for me.
It's not working for me.
And they said, you can't do
You
this?
can't do this.
And you said?
I said, why not? I own it. And I said, I'm going to make sure everyone has a better job than they have now. I will assure you of that. But the point of it is, yes, I can do it. And it will be done in a smooth transition.
But wait, that was a big step because you were responsible for 26 people and you said to yourself, you know what, my happiness is priority. I'm not going to live for these people. But that takes a lot of personal power.
Well, it does, and it was scary. And was I scared? Absolutely. And my office manager came to me and said, I'll never talk to you again.
But you did it anyway because this is what you had to do.
I had to do it.
You had to, yeah.
I had to, because I was no good to anybody.
Right.
If you can't feel comfortable with yourself and love yourself, what love can you give anyone else? Everyone says my relationships fail. The divorce rate's 70%, and most people don't even get married anymore. And how about the separation rate? But the point of it is, it fails because everyone's afraid to feel vulnerable.
Right.
But they say, well, I can't feel vulnerable. I'll be unsafe. No, you won't be if you follow your intuition. Your intuition will guide you and say, you know what? This is a good person. I just met this person. It's not how many years I know the person. It's what your gut tells you. And your gut will lead you the right way. And you can follow it safely. You can walk that tightrope right across the canyon from a life of fear to a life of love.
That's an important thing for people to know. Following their guts will always lead them
to safety.
In the right direction, and to an evolution of their consciousness.
Right. But more importantly is about this journey. It's all about the journey. There's no destination.
Right.
So if someone's looking for all of a sudden the pot at the end of the rainbow, they're missing the journey.
So how do you go back to the doctors that you went to medical school with and say, look, it's not about doing that hardcore thing, it's about following your intuition. That's the shift I think we're trying to bridge. I was just talking to Deepak Chopra about that, and he's a doctor, and he's bridging it by saying a similar thing.
Well, I think this is the way you do it. I was with a wonderful person the other day who I was shocked when she said to me, very confident, very successful, and she said, because I talked a little bit. Sometimes I talk and cause problems, so I have to put this on the
That's
side.
okay.
But I said, what's wrong? She goes, I have really a lot of fear. I'm really scared about everything. Now, this is the last person in the world you'd ever expect to hear this from. For her to say that to me was incredible, and I was a stranger. And my answer was, very gently, I put my hand on her leg and said, it's okay.
The fear is okay. It's okay to feel the fear.
It's okay. So, and that was the end of my discussion.
It's okay meaning?
It's okay to have that fear.
Okay.
And it's powerful that you could even say it. But the thing of it is, so the thing is, you see a lot of angry people. They may hide it. They're great at facades, the multiple personalities.
Right.
But you could sense it. You could feel their energy. You feel their coarseness. And when you get the opportunity to maybe get a little bit close, it's just a little word. It's just planting a little seed, like saying, it's okay.
I think so. I mean, I do that with people I meet, and I'm picking up what they're feeling and saying, yeah, just allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. And then that allows them to move to the next level.
Right. If you show them too much and you come on too strong, they get scared. It's like the deer and the lights in the car in the country, and they get paralyzed in their own fear. Too much would
be what, though?
If you come on strong, like trying to
just get over it.
Yeah, get over it. What's wrong? Get tough.
Right.
Come on, this is the facts. It worked for me. It's going to work for you. That's now bull. Now, the other thing that's bull is when people say, "Well, I'm not ready now. When I'm ready," that's just cop out. It's just like the person who says, I can't wait till I retire, then I'm going to travel.
Right.
He's never going to travel. The reality of it is, it's okay not to be whole. None of us are whole. We're whole if we embrace the dark side and the light side. We'll always have some part of us that's dark and that we're working on. And that's cool. And that makes it fun. That makes life not boring. But if you could relax into a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's love, whether it's with your children, and you don't have to control everything around you, and you don't have to stay in one peer group that says, join this club, dress this way, go to work on this day, party here.
So this is what your workshop's going to be, your talk on November 1st is going to be about. It's going to be about feeling what we're feeling whatever it is, validating it, and moving into a place of love from just the validation of who you are as a feeling being.
Yes.
Is that
right? Getting our sensitivities back, letting that little child in all of us, getting deep inside and see what that little child wants. And that little child probably wants, in most people, most of the time, only one thing. And it's to be loved. Not to love, not love, but to be loved. People want to be loved.
And we have to love ourselves
it's the only way you're going to do it.
But loving ourselves, that is the part most people have a hard time. It's because it sounds like ego. If I love myself, well, it's just self-indulgent. I'm just bringing up all the things that
You're right.
people bring up. And also know that I actually do love myself. And I'm also, could love myself more. We always can. So how do we get to the place where we get through those hang-ups that we have about truly accepting and love?
What are we really loving when we say we love ourselves? Really what we're saying is we trust ourselves. So what ego is there? Shouldn't we trust ourselves? Shouldn't we trust the most important thing in this world to us is us? And then if you really want to look at it from another standpoint is, if we can trust ourselves, then we set an example for our children, for our friends, for the people we meet. Our energy is incredible, how it will affect other people without us saying a word, without firing a shot.
And actually, when I have come to that place of trust, it's a deep feeling of satisfaction.
Yes.
It's like peace.
Right. It's not emotional.
Yeah. So what are you working on? Where are you going? What's your progress as you reach these levels?
I just want to transition into a life where I do nothing but write my books, do my CDs, do my little interactive discussions. And I say interactive discussions, not lectures, because one moment we're the teacher and the next moment we're the student. And it's always going to be that way. We can never just be a student. We're all on this journey together. It's just that maybe right now I feel more comfortable talking about my journey, but someone else maybe could talk even better about their journey, but they're afraid to come out right now.
Yeah, and I think it's important you give people a forum to come out and share their journey. I mean, if we're going to have a little discussion right here, I mean, my journey has been to actually do what you said, tap in and follow the intuition, and not worry about what it looks like on the outside, or not worry, the financial end, or any of the things that concern what's in the way of what we truly want to do.
Come out of your closet, come out of the dark, and just show love, and you'll receive it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I must tell you one thing. I got to the point in May, not this year, but the year before, where I quit. I just closed my project down, as I call it.
This thing you're calling
This thing I call a project, Buddha Baby.
Buddha. Oh, that's the name of your talk.
Yeah.
Is the Buddha Baby.
Buddha Baby.
Okay.
Buddha Baby Productions. And the reason was I raised all these questions. I did 5 CDs. I raised all these questions. And I said, wow, this is wonderful. I can sort of see where I fit into this and how all these synchronicities happen. But I have no answers.
Well, that's
So
a
then-
good thing, actually.
Well, I mean, but
Anyway,
the answers
but-
were driving me crazy.
Okay.
So on a whim, on a total whim, a series of synchronicities, I ended up in Seattle, Washington for a month, and then 4 weeks in Thailand and 2 weeks in Cambodia by myself, backpacking and exploring with a very, very little agenda, and I never did anything like that before. And it was just earth-shattering. But I think about this so often. I was in Cambodia, and Cambodia is such a poor country. And my hotel was in downtown Cambodia, but one street is paved in Cambodia. There's no red lights, there's no anything. And this one street is where everyone sort of parties all night long. But the hotels are about maybe a half a mile away on dirt roads with no lights. And I had this guide with me who was really cool. And he says, yeah, that's where you should go tonight. It's safe, you'll have fun. Every place is safe, he goes. And I said, but how about going back to my hotel in the dark on the dirt street at whatever, 2 o'clock in the morning? Do I have to worry? He says, follow your own intuition. Now this is a Cambodian telling me this. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, you're amazing. He says, follow your gut. And I said, wow. So anyway.
Is that the common philosophy in Cambodia? That's beautiful.
I'm not sure, but I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I ran into it. So I'm walking down this dark street, and there's all these huts and all this, and here I am, this lone American, trying to find my place, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden I stopped, and it was so calm and beautiful, and it was just a wonderful vibration, and I said, you know, I'm totally safe.
Right.
And I walked back to the hotel.
And you just felt peace.
I felt total peace. I knew nothing was going to happen
But you know,
to me.
that's all the time we can feel that.
Yeah, you can
That
feel
peace.
it every single second of your life.
Yes.
When you're
yes.
struggling and pushing and shoving and fighting for anything, it's not going to work, or you're not going to maintain it, or it's not going to work out the way that you want it to work out. So leave the emotional glue with your shoes as you come into the yoga studio.
Stop controlling it.
Stop controlling it.
Let go and trust.
Yes.
That's your basic message.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful message.
Thank you.
And will you be able to reach doctors with that?
Hopefully. Some. Doctors are humans.
Well,
They're changing.
But they are. The medical paradigm is changing.
Yes.
Should we hear a little bit from your project manager?
Absolutely.
Here. Do you want to sit? Come and
Please.
Here. Oh, here. Let me
what
just.
should I do?
Here. Just go ahead. Just a little bit. You can just introduce.
Susan Hunter?
Here, she can introduce herself on. Okay. Hi.
Hi,
You're Susan Hunter.
Susan Hunter. Yes.
And you're working with Dr. John Querci.
Yep, with Dr. John on the Buddha Baby project.
Tell me about your perception of it.
Well, it's an amazing project, and it's all about choice and knowing that you have a choice in how you live your life. I believe that most people don't even recognize that that's a possibility, that they can choose between what's expected and what they want as a core person.
How do we make them aware that they have a choice?
That's what part of this project is all about, is getting the word out, spreading the word, and letting people know that they can live in a whole way as a person, rather than the masks they have on over the years.
But tell me how. Give me a little sample, just so I could, how would they know that? Or how did you know it? Like, use your own life.
I think it's part of getting quiet. And as John said, going to the inside. It's not about the world around you. It's about exploring who you really are under the surface. Not the parent, not the employee, not the employer, not the child. It's who you came in as. What do you want? That little kid, that soul, that inner self.
That
what
essence.
Is it? Yes.
So that was good, because that touched something there when you said getting quiet.
It is. I mean, we live in a noisy world.
And the noise is also in our heads. The noise is...
Oh, you have to get out of your head and into your heart. I mean, that's what it's really all about. It's about living from your heart, not from your head. We're taught to be very intellectual human beings, and we overthink most of our day, most of our world.
But if we're just quiet, just dropped in, then in a way, life takes care of itself.
I believe so.
So what's your connection with the project, the Baby Buddha Baby project?
Well, when it was in Philadelphia and opened up, I was helping to get it kicked off, and then of course John continued his journey, and we've been nudging him for a long time that this is something that needs to be shared with the world, and he's ready to go in with the answers that he's explored and bringing back.
And what have you found for yourself in this journey?
I wish I'd started it earlier, but it's all in perfect time.
Who were you, and now who are you now?
Well, I think the essence has always been there, but it's exploring and allowing the authentic self to come to the surface. The business person is not as obvious. The soul, the fun. My son refers to it as you're having fun now, you're happy. And I said, good point.
Are we having fun yet?
Are we having fun yet, Mom? And it is. It's all about, I think that when we're aligned, when we are truly being ourselves, we are having fun. It feels good.
Yeah.
And when we're pushing too hard, when we're making things happen, when we're overthinking, it's stressful, it's strenuous, it's not fun.
Wow. Thank you, Susan, for the help that you're doing to create this energy in New York. Should we just get some final words from John? What do you want to give people? What can they expect when they show up there?
A little overview, a little tasting menu of what they can do themselves to go from a life of fear to a life of love.
And have that experience.
And have that experience.
And if they have any issues, they can bring it out and share it, look at it, and be free of it.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. So is there a number or website?
Yes. The website is whereisbuddhababy.com. The phone number is 570-313-3241. And my email address, which I'd rather people use rather than the one that we're changing on the Buddha Baby site because we're really updating it, is jquerci, Querci, 49 at AOL.com. And please send me your questions, send me your any thoughts you may have, and come to the event. There's going to be a series of free events. And if I have your emails, I can send an email blast to you.
Well, it's a great thing you're giving a free event because actually this kind of television program is for the public to attend these types of events. So I'm really happy that you shared all this. Any final words about your process or something that I can take home with me?
Well, I think the most important thing people have to realize is they have to learn to love themselves, respect themselves. And
what if they don't? What if they have what if they've done something bad or wrong or,
There's nothing too bad that you could possibly do. Nothing.
Nothing you can't be forgiven for.
Right. Everything, forgiveness is the key. And the thing of it is, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. And if you really want to have a life of prosperity, whether it's materialistic or spiritual, it has to be done with love and passion.
Thanks for sharing the message of love.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John. Very happy to have been talking to Dr. John Querci, who will be giving that free talk, November 1st, down at Union Square at the Tao Studios, T-A-O Studios, right? And if you have any questions, you can email me at newrealities@earthlink.net or look on my website, newrealities.com, and hope to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I appreciate
for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate, how sincere you are in trying to help people.
Thank you.
Because you're doing it from your own depth. There's nothing you want for doing this. This is what I find.
Yeah.
And that's a really beautiful thing. You just are doing because you want to help people. And what will you get out of doing it?
The satisfaction of seeing people change. It's magical.
And that helps you change as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's healing. It's basically healing. And when you heal others, you heal yourself. And it's incredible the energy you get from healing other people. So there's a big benefit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, colors are more vibrant, experiences are more incredible, synchronicities are all over the place. And
When you're healing
other
in the
people.
healing energy.
And you just go out there and you don't look at people other than their energy. So it makes no difference what they look like.
And you're getting back to like why you first became a doctor in the first place?
Yes.
That's so you're getting back to what your pure intention was
Right.
just to help people.
Right. It was simple as that, just to help people.
Wow.
And got sidetracked.
Yeah, but maybe you needed to take that long way around so you could come back to this place even more powerful.
Well, what makes it so powerful is being a doctor and talking this way is powerful. It's empowering is a more proper word. But if I weren't a doctor and didn't experience that, maybe people would say, oh, I'm being jealous or I'm trying to bring down the medical community. I'm not. The medical community's fine. It's just insensitive.
And if doctors were more sensitive like you, how would that change healthcare?
It would change it tremendously because you heal with it. You heal people with it. We, in Western medicine, heal people with a test and a pill. We give a diagnosis. Everyone's ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, they're OCD, they're this, they're that, and they're bragging about it. They're saying, well, you know, I have this, I see my shrink, and I've been going there for 20 years, and I'm taking this pill and that pill, and I have all this pain, I'm on OxyContin. Well, that's the problem.
That is the problem. So they're perpetuating the problem.
Yes, they're perpetuating the problem. They don't know what to do with you. So the insurance company wants a title, they'll give you a title, and then they'll give you a pill, and then they want you to beat it, and they'll see you in 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 8 weeks.
That is what's destroying people, and
Right.
and patients go along with it, and doctors go along with
Right.
it, and there's this kind of unconscious syndrome.
So healthcare reform should begin with sensitivity reform. Should begin with changing this and saying, you are not allowed to give a diagnosis unless it's real.
What do you mean by real?
Well, what I'm saying is too many people carry too many diagnoses. Everyone has one. And I mean, sure, some people do have those entities, but everybody has one.
Well, how do we get beyond? You have to go to medical schools, right? And start there.
That's where you have to start.
You do.
And you have to start by the type of people that are allowed in medical schools. They should take a sensitivity test, not a cutthroat test because you had the best grades in town.
Oh.
It should be balanced. The upper chakras, 5, 6, and 7, spirituality and love, should be balanced with the lower chakras, 1, 2, and 3, survival
Wow.
through the heart. So maybe they have to give a little test. Maybe they should take more students with B pluses and not A pluses.
Because the people who weren't studying so hard maybe had more time for compassion.
Right. And maybe they got involved in life, and maybe they had relationships.
That is so good. That is so important.
And how much community service they do in medical school.
Yes. What, can this change? 'Cause
Sure it can. All they have to do is make a decision. Just like going from fear to love. Let's make a decision. What do you want your medical student to look like
Wow.
in the 21st century?
But the problem is the people who control the medical schools and the hospitals, and it's...
We're the same people who came through the system like myself.
Yeah. Right.
You know, they came through this brutal system.
So people like you need to go in, stand up, and say,
Think about this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you should be giving your
Talks
talks.
to medical students.
You should be.
Yes, I would love that.
I
or
mean-
ER doctors.
That would be so important.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no precedent. There's no paradigm to...
None. This is totally
Ha-
revolutionary.
Yeah, we have to start a way where this sensitivity training, like bedside manners, you know,
Right. It's not just being polite, it's having feeling.
yeah.
Forget the politeness. Anyone could say, thank you, goodbye, but do you mean it? It's like, you know, there's a wonderful psychiatrist, and I forget his name now, but his field of thought has just been approved about 10 years ago to be acceptable, and it's called transactional analysis.
All right.
But it says you meet someone, you go to work every day and you see someone, you go, good morning, how are you? Like you really care. And they say how nice you are. Boy, what a nice person. He says that to me every day. But don't ever stop and say, you know, good morning, but I'm feeling terrible. Do you have a moment to talk to me? Oh my God, I got to rush. You're kidding me. You really want to talk? I just wanted to look good.
Well, then it's a symptom of the whole culture. You can't
Sure.
just say it's the doctors.
No,
but
it's the whole culture. It's not
Right,
just medicine.
right.
It's what Americans or Westerners demand. They demand this. They demand it. This is the service they want. They want McDonald's.
Well, this is where we have to change. We need to be like that person in Cambodia that says,
Right.
just follow your intuition.
Just follow your intuition. Here's my guide. I'm paying this guy. He says, I'm going to bed because I don't stay up that late. And you follow your intuition and you'll be fine, John. Cool.
That's what you're
Got it.
paying him for.
But he was right. It was wonderful.
Wow. No, I think you're hitting at the core of a deep issue in the culture, the issue of feeling and sensitivity. And that is what I feel is really key in shifting people to, well, let's call it new realities, the understanding of what am I feeling? What's the feeling? Because feeling is the core to everything we are, is the feeling. And then it comes thought, and then intellectualization, and then numbness. But it's the feeling. And if you can get people back there, and you and everyone else who I like to have on this program, then we can start a real revolution.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's the revolution of who we are.
Yeah. By changing one person at a time.
Yeah. It's such a huge thing. But thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
No, I really, little piece there.